Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song. So happy to see all of you popping into the room today. It's always so magical when all the faces and smiles start showing up. Glad you're all here today. Super excited to be here on May 1st. Happy May Day, everybody. And we are going to be singing and celebrating May Day with two songs that have themes of work in them. And I'm super excited to have with us in the room today, brand new to us, a friend of Joe Jenks. His name is Weddell, and he is coming in from the Seattle area. And we're going to get back to Wes in just a minute, but let's all say hi to everybody out there on the live stream. Hello, live stream. Glad you joined us today. So that's a hello to everybody watching on YouTube and a hello to everybody watching on Facebook Live. We're glad you joined us. Today is day 1,487 days of consecutive singing here in the Daily Antidote of Song. And some days I just need to take a big breath about it. But most days I need to take a lot of breaths because now I'm going to do the big fast hello to everybody in the room. I'm so glad that you guys are here. So hello, help me wave. Hello to Wes, of course, coming in from Seattle. Hello to Kevin in DC. Hello to Deborah coming in from Kentucky, Delhi in Maryland. Trish coming in from Victoria, Canada. Susan in Cincinnati. That's Gary over there in Massachusetts. Dan in Vienna, Virginia. Caroline in DC. Sheila in North Florida, Kathy in Colorado, Ruth in Birmingham, UK. Nice to see you. Sue in Seattle, Carolyn in Boise, Idaho, Storm in Massachusetts, Kevin Ennis in New Hampshire, also reminding me that today is day 1,487. Bonnie coming in from Boise, Idaho, Nancy in Washington State, Hoda in British Columbia, Annette in California, Ann in Silver Spring, Maryland, Lynn in Connecticut, Sandy in Western North Carolina, Sarah in Texas. We have Fred coming in from Maryland, Cricket in Maryland, and Bob, who is still connecting to audio in Massachusetts. Let's all take a deep breath. There's the breath we all needed. Okay, so I'm super excited to be welcoming to our space Wes Weddell. And as I mentioned, he is from Seattle, and he is a singer, songwriter, and person of other magical powers. And Joe Jenks is a good friend of his and said to us, hey, you haven't had Wes Weddell yet, and you absolutely need to have him. So let's all welcome Wes. Hi, Wes.
Hi, Joe, and hi, everybody. What a delightful thing this is, and it's an honor to be involved.
Yay, we're so glad to have you. So Wes, I know, and you know that it is May Day, and I think you have brought us two songs. Can you tell us what you've got for us first?
Certainly. May Day in my family was always International Workers' Day first, and leave flowers on your neighbor's doorstep second. And so I brought The Preacher and the Slave, Joe Hill song from 1911, the song that brought the phrase pie in the sky into the vernacular, with a really great response part on the chorus. And then, because Joe said it was okay, I brought a second song. It's a tune I wrote recently. I do a lot of work with a local group that puts on a monthly show of original music inspired by books. And this song was inspired by Daniel James Brown's The Boys in the Boat, the story of the 1936 U.S. Olympic rowing team that had to do some working together, and also has a little response part in the chorus.
Oops, so beautiful. Do you think, could you maybe sing the chorus for us once or teach us the chorus, whichever way you like?
Oh, of course.
So that we'll be ready to sing along with you.
Yes. So I suspect some in the virtual room will know it, but we will start from zero. Again, Joe Hill, 1911. The tune is "The Sweet By and By," the hymn, and the chorus goes like this: You will eat by and by in that glorious land above the sky. Work and pray, live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. And there's a great response part that comes. So you can sing either, both. You're muted, so you can do whatever you want. All right, so now I'll sing them both. It would go, you will eat, and the answer goes, you will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, You'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie! That's the fun part.
So great. I think everybody looked like they were ready, and I do think there's a lot of folks who know it. So everybody feel ready to sing along? Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. See you at the end. Long-haired preachers come out every night, try to tell you what's wrong and what's right. But when asked how about something to eat, they will answer in voices so sweet. Here we go. You will eat, by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie, and the Starvation Army they play, and they sing and they clap and they pray till they get all your coin on the drum. Then they tell you when you're on the bum, you will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Holy rollers and jumpers come out, and they holler, they jump and they shout. Give your money to Jesus, they say. He will cure all diseases today. You will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. If you fight hard for children and wife, try to get something good in this life, you're a sinner and bad man, they tell. When you die, you will sure go to hell. Yes, you will eat, by and by, in that glorious land above the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Working men of all countries unite. Side by side we for freedom will fight. When the world and its wealth we have gained, to the grafters we'll sing this refrain. Yes, you will eat by and by, in that glorious land above the sky. Work and pray, live on hay, you'll get pie in the sky when you die. And there's one variation of the chorus at the end here. It goes like this. You will eat, by and by, when you've learned how to cook and how to fry, Chop some wood will do you good. Then you'll eat in the sweet by and by. That's no lie.
Woo! Thank you, Wes. That was lots of fun to sing. Happy May Day, everybody. I'm going to vote for the workers' songs and the flowers. It sounds like that's what your family did too. So you want to chat a little bit more about the song and about May Day?
Sure. So this was Joe Hill, 1911. Again, this is according to numerous sources where the phrase pie in the sky first entered the vernacular. The tune is the hymn, The Sweet By and By, and there's actually, if you go digging for it, there's a sort of mid-20th century reworking of this melody about voting rights. You will vote by and by. Same sentiment, borrowing heavily from Joe Hill's parody. But there are a number of songs that take a sort of traditional hymn melody and have early 20th century labor lyrics and then mid 20th century civil rights lyrics. And my father once put together a program of these songs for a Unitarian gospel service, which is just as fun as it sounds. And this one was featured heavily. Definitely an anthem from the Wobblies, the International Workers of the World. My mother's father was a card-carrying member of that and a few other organizations that tended to get him in trouble. He was called before House Un-American Activities Committee in 1948. In fact, Richard Nixon's first speech as the junior representative from California, his first ever speech on the floor of Congress, accuses my grandfather by name of espionage. So, we all got little badges.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, it seems kind of, I guess, like an obvious question, but your family history had something to do with how you ended up getting into singing the types of songs that you do.
Oh, certainly. I feel really lucky to have grown up in a house where the Weavers would be played alongside something more contemporary, and I just when I got to college and I ended up with a fellowship from the University of Washington to travel around the state gathering stories and writing songs 60 years to the month from when Woody Guthrie was doing the same thing from the Bonneville Power Administration. I was still looking for my next rock band and waiting for my genius to be discovered, but suddenly people were paying attention to me as a singer-songwriter, and I kind of never looked back. But yeah, so my mom's from Manhattan. My father was from Athens, Georgia. They met in group therapy in the Bronx and moved to Idaho to try to build a commune. So I come by the West honestly, but it's yeah. Again, we all have roots. But yeah, mom's father was held in contempt of Congress actually for refusing to answer questions in 1948. He did what Pete Seeger did 7 years later. He didn't take the fifth; he took the first. Said it's my First Amendment right to say this is not a legitimate government body. You have no right to ask me this. And so
Wow.
started a federal prison sentence the month after mom was born in 48. And
Wow.
because of that, the family was sort of blacklisted, and his brother lost his liquor license at Cafe Society, which a lot of people claim was the first integrated nightclub in the country down on 2 Sheridan Square there. Um, and yeah, it's I don't want to take up all your time with just
Well, no, I mean, like, I just want to keep talking about and talking about that. So, because we do have a lot of folks in the room, we have a sort of a little nickname of that it's the University of Daily Antidote, but there's a lot of folks in the room that really love to like explore the deeper history of stuff. And can you tell us your grandfather's name so that folks can learn a little bit more
Oh, I,
about
I
him?
certainly can. His name was all over the place. His name is Leon Josephson. He does have a Wikipedia page. Um, his brother was Barney Josephson, and that's the name that shows up in like the Ken Burns Jazz and connected with Cafe Society. Um, and yeah, which was, I believe, the first place Billie Holiday ever sang "Strange Fruit." They
Wow.
used to love to tell a story. I don't want to get too white savior about it, but they did love to tell a story about Paul Robeson being in the club and getting in a dust up with a white patron, and the white patron being the one asked to leave, and a feeling like there weren't a whole lot of clubs around where that's how that would have shaken out.
Wow, that's really beautiful. So it's incredible to me, like, sort of the depth of the history. And when we're on the subject of things like racial justice or workers' history, like, as you said, like, you came by the West, I think you said, honestly, or however you just phrased that, like how we all came here to this country in so many different ways. My story sounds exactly Zippo, not one piece like yours in any way, right? And we all are here. And somehow, and I mean, I think this is like a really good thing to think about right now while we're in the universe of what feels like a lot of focus on differences, is somehow we're all in this room anyway, right? And we're singing that song that you brought us together. And there's a reason for that. And I think it's deep and beautiful and subtle and incredible. And I'm so glad you just shared that beautiful history. I can't wait also to go read a little bit more about it all. And so I don't know. I guess before I'm glad we're going to sing one of your songs that you've actually written. Before we do that, do you want to say anything more about May Day, or do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you're up to in the world?
I want to wish everyone a happy May Day, a productive May Day, a just May Day. However you choose to celebrate, whatever task or cause you choose to spend that pursuing. It in Seattle, it's always a big question of when is spring really going to happen. This is kind of false spring, we call it right now, and we won't start making solid weekend plans till 4th of July here, but the sun is shining out my window right here, which is just lovely. And yeah, I might pick a tulip or two and leave it on a neighbor's doorstep and run away, just for old time's sake.
That's beautiful.
I as a self-employed working artist, my world looks like so many different things on different days. And I think about like when I was in college and had the fellowship, and was an entitled white kid who tested well and was waiting to be sort of recognized. How grateful I am to learn how many different ways all of this looks, and that there's this idea that culturally in the arts that anything short of fame is failure, but there's such a vibrant community and economy of people who just make this a regular part of their lives, both from a producing art standpoint and from an interacting with it standpoint. Live music is something that can be part of your life, and and this, for almost 1,500 days, this program has made a point of that. Even in times where gathering wasn't possible, it can look like so many things other than saving your pennies and seeing Taylor Swift once a summer. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So I'm happiest when I am writing and singing songs. I do a lot of teaching. I do a lot of playing in other people's groups. I'm currently doing a songwriting residency at a local high school. I taught a lot of Zoom ukulele classes when we were locked down for a local library. So the gallery situation here is something I love very much. There was always, a couple iPads on coffee tables looking up people's noses, and a couple 5-year-olds blowing up the chat with unicorn emojis. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be connected to this, and to be asked to sing an original song. This is, as I mentioned, I do a lot of work with this group, the Bushwick Book Club Seattle, that original music inspired by books. The original chapter of this organization was in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I love the idea of art inspiring art, and I love giving the audience a chance to really understand the place you came from and your inspiration. So a few years ago, we read Daniel James Brown's The Boys in the Boat, the story of the 1936 U.S. Olympic rowing team that won gold in Berlin, which also happened to be the University of Washington's crew team, which is here in Seattle. A movie did just come out, and this song was not on it, even though I understand Dan kind of lobbied for me. But I think it's easy sometimes in creative space to overemphasize how unique your experience is, and think you're experiencing things people before you haven't. And I do think 1936, taking a trip to Germany, might have been another time in history where people felt uncertain, weren't sure what was coming, were scared, maybe wanted to do things and didn't know how, maybe did things and suffered some consequences for it. I think there were a lot of experiences then. I wrote this at the end of 2006 or 16 with an election looming, and sometimes the thing to do is to do the thing. My chorus for this one has a similar response part to Preacher and the Slave. So the chorus itself goes: dig in hard, dig in deep. We have miles to row before we sleep. Take a turn, take an oar, but no, we can't go back there anymore. And you can sing all of that with me if you want. You can also, on the recording, I had a lovely group of singers come in and do this. Dig in hard, dig in hard, dig in deep, dig in deep. We have miles to row before we sleep. Take a turn, take a turn, take an oar, but no, we can't go back there anymore. Evening winds begin to hit the lowlands. Keep your focus sharp and hunker down. Darkness dropping closer every moment. Not a lot of time to mess around. Here's that chorus. Dig in hard, you dig in deep. We have miles to row before we sleep. Take a turn, take an oar, but no, we can't go back there anymore. Morning news spreads quickly through the country. Could have seen this coming if I had wanted to. Darkness holding steady on the side streets. Not a lot of time to think it through. So dig in hard, dig in deep, dig in deep. We have miles to row before we sleep. Take a turn and take an oar. Take an oar, but no, we can't go back there anymore. I see a flute out there. Flute, feel free to take this break. This is all you. What do you do when you can't do it on your own? You have to choose to keep on rowing. Hope that she will keep on rowing. And then the next seat keeps on rowing. And if we all just keep on rowing, you gotta dig in hard, dig in hard, dig in deep, dig in deep. Got miles to row before we sleep. Take a turn and take an oar, take an oar. But no, we can't go back there anymore. Dig in hard, dig in fast. We have miles to row while the moments pass. Take a turn, take an oar. But no, we can't go back there anymore. No, we can't go back there anymore. No, we can't go back there anymore.
Thank you so much, Wes.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody.
That was a lot of fun to sing. Very, very joyful. And it was really nice the way it felt both familiar and absolutely new all at once. I really appreciated the way, yeah, you caught something there.
Thank you. That is the goal. It's so simple to articulate, so elusive to hit.
Beautiful. So I have to say, I'm not sure how we missed having you in the Daily Antidote for 1,480 some odd days because
You've had a lot on your plate.
we've had a lot going on, but you are really an incredible fit for this space. I mean, in this time that we've been with you, we've talked about work, we've talked about racial justice, you talked about voting. We kind of went through a lot of things, the idea of community and how I mean, you were sort of touching on this, the idea that like if the music is really all about fame, there's not really your width of success is so small, and if the music is about sitting on the porch jamming with your neighbors, you've got a lot of room for a lot of joy, and so I really appreciate all of that because it does feel like it's sort of what we talk about and experience all the time, probably because it's about one of the most important things, it and all that other stuff, most important stuff to be talking about right now. So guys, can we all please give it up for Wes Weddell? Did I say it right?
Weddell.
Weddell.
That's okay. Google will get you there.
Awesome. Weddell. It's a very cool spelling. Thank you so much for being with us today, Wes. We hope that we'll have a chance to sing with you again really soon. A big shout out to Joe Jenks for introducing us to his great friend, Wes Weddell. And Wes's link is in the chat. Website link is in the chat if you want to go learn more about Wes. And hopefully we've had some folks who've put stuff in the chat about Wes's grandfather. And I can't wait to learn more about it all. And thanks again to everybody on the live stream for joining us. Oops, look at this. We've got people who are coming into the room. Let's let them in to say goodbye to them. Thank you so much to everybody out there on the live stream for joining us today. Folks, can you help me wave? Everybody on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And everybody on Facebook, ciao, and thanks for joining us, gang. And to everybody here in the room, thanks again for joining us. Let's all wave to Wes in case he has to run off and go immediately write some more songs. Thank you, Wes. Great to have you. And thanks to everybody in the room. Kevin in DC, great to have you today. Susan in Cincinnati, nice to see you today. Dan in Vienna, Virginia, great to have you here. Caroline in DC, thank you. Oh, there's our president of the University of Daily Antidote who probably put stuff in. Sheila in North Florida, thank you. Kathy in Colorado, Sue in Seattle, Carolyn in Boise, Idaho, Storm in Massachusetts, Kevin in New Hampshire, Bonnie in Boise, Idaho, Hoda in British Columbia, Annette in California, Athena in Brooklyn, Ann in Silver Spring, Maryland, Bob in Albany, Cricket in Maryland, Ann in Nashville. Let's see, Fred in Maryland, Bob in Massachusetts, Deli in Maryland, Nancy in Washington State, Gary coming in from Massachusetts. Where was I? We've got Ruth in Birmingham, UK. Thanks for being with us on your walk, I think. Trish in Victoria, Lynn in Connecticut, Sarah in Texas, Marcia coming in from Huntsville, Ontario, Jane in Texas, Deborah in Kentucky, Kat in Vermont, Mabel and a bear in Massachusetts, and Penny in Victoria. Thanks again, gang, for being here. I want to also do a big thank you to everybody who joined us yesterday for our racial justice discussion, first one in our new series. It was an absolute miracle of an experience with Fran Andre, Hubby Jenkins, Kathy Bullock, and Dan Zanes all talking together about racial justice. And they all agreed that we need to do another one soon. And we're going to have the video up from that very soon, and hopefully an email out before the end of the day, wrapping it up and letting folks watch it who weren't able to come. Thanks again for being a part of that yesterday. And for anybody out there in the live stream who didn't know about it, check out our Carpe Diem Arts Daily Antidote of Songs racial justice page. You'll find out about what we just did and what we have coming up next. So thanks again, everybody. Ciao, and see you all tomorrow.